Oh, what's good, everybody? Welcome into Prime Time Early Edge. And just like Snug the Cat, what does my career come to? Says in the chat, best Thursday night game on paper so far this year. The last few were clunkers. Well, Snug the Cat, you're absolutely right. This is also your daily sports betting brand of record. All of our odds that you hear on the show tonight are presented by the king of all sports books, BetMGM. We are powered by the almighty SportsLine, the best value in all sports betting, and it's not even close. Now, tonight, the Lions looking to win 4 straight against the Green Bay Packers for just the 3rd time in the last 50 years. And I am quite sure that EC will use a nugget that has 50 years in his explanation, and it won't matter at all. So with all that being said, you know I love these guys. Bring in the stars of the show because we go 6 wide in prime time. Look at who I have tonight. Oh, my goodness. EC, my man Philzy, Coach Phil, AB, our 5-tool player, the counselor of Casino John, and my man Proppy 3 times. Prop stars. Now, somebody in the chat real quick said if Sia gets in the club tonight, it should be 4 times in the early season. Sia, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do agree with that. I feel like I've hit this 3 times already. Tutu got taken away from me. Amon-Ra St. Brown got taken away from me. Thankfully, I got me some TJ Hawkinson. But tonight, maybe there's another tight end involved. I don't know. We'll see.
All right. Well, I need everybody at home to hit that like button for me. Take the chat down. Hit the like button. Put it right back up and keep talking amongst yourselves. If you have a prop that you like tonight, put it in the chat. I need the juice as well. We'll get to as many as we possibly can. But we've got a bunch tonight. Why? Because we have 2 really good teams that are 2-1 and at the top of their division. So where do we always start? Well, where we separate ourselves from everybody else. We have one of the great coaches in recent memory in the NFL and also college football. So, Coach Phil, we're coming to you first as always. I need to know your keys to the game tonight. You're up first.
Yeah, like we always do. We start talking about the road team, going on the road to Green Bay with the Lions taking on the Packers. They're both 2-1. I'm really excited about this game. We got a divisional game. The other 2 opponents in the division are 0-3. So this has a lot of implications going forward. The number one thing I'm looking for the Detroit Lions to do is that physicality has to travel. And on offense, defense, and special teams. Dan Campbell, as we know, is a unique personality at head coach, and he has that team playing very similar to his own personality, which is physical, tough, hard-nosed football. The second thing is to affect the quarterback. They had 7 sacks last week. Aiden Hutchinson's the defensive player of the week. We have some inactives we're looking at right now on the side of the ball for the Lions. That doesn't really affect the point that I'm making right now with Aiden Hutchinson and the 7 sacks that are coming in, the pressure rate of 35%. But when you look on the other side of it, when we get over there to Green Bay, there are 2 specific injuries that are very, very important to talk about. We have Jair Alexander, one of the top corners in the league, is out. Wow. And Devondre Campbell is also out. Those are two important components to this Packers defense. Going over to Green Bay and talking about, Green Bay's what the 2 keys of victory for them would be to keep the pocket clean for Love. I mean, he's playing good football. He's at 7 touchdowns, 1 pick. Bakhtiari's out. That's going to be challenging. So again, we have a great pass rush coming in town with the Detroit Lions matched up against the Packers. We'll see how that unfolds tonight. The second thing, which is a little bit more intricate to explain, but is the eye discipline of the defense. We talked about Campbell and Alexander, who are experienced players, being out, looking in the backfield, all the motions, the shifts, the gadgets, and the deceptives that Ben Johnson, this offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions, will have and implement versus the Packers defense tonight is going to be something to watch.
I'll ask everybody a question just one time. Do you want to do the work? I didn't think so. By the way, shout out to my man Buck is in the chat as we speak. Little like brothers to EC. He went 2-0 yet again today. If you're not watching the morning show, I don't know what you're doing. The man is just cashing ticket after ticket after ticket. So we just heard Coach Phil talk about Jordan Love and what the Packers will need to do tonight. Well, EC, I'm coming to you first because you believe that using the legs tonight and also one specific receiver will get a plus nod. Talk to me.
Well, Coach, I'm just salty about all my teams. You can see I'm wearing my Packers shirt tonight. They are my team, but I'm salty about the Cubs too. So I'm not going to be as overly optimistic about Green Bay as you would think. Not going to be too much of a homer, but I do love these 2 props tonight. We're going to start with Jordan Love, over 18.5 rushing yards at -110. I got this on the site last night at 16.5. So he started with 12 in week 1, had 23 in week 2, and had 9 rushes for 39 yards in week 3. So here's what I expect. As Phil talked about, Green Bay's offensive line, they put David Bakhtiari on IR today. That's who knows if he's ever going to be healthy again after that knee injury in 2020. With Aiden Hutchinson coming around the end, Love's going to have to get out of there and scramble. So I think that's going to be a key component for Green Bay to move the ball down the field. I think this prop is actually about 7 or 8 yards too low. I would play it up to 25. Patrick Mahomes, 6 rushes, 45 yards against the Lions. Even Geno Smith, 3 for 20 against him. If Love can't get 20 yards and Geno Smith can, we got problems. So Jordan Love's going to hit this prop over 18.5 rushing yards. And then, so this one's been all over the board. I got Luke Musgrave over 36.5 receiving yards last night. It dropped to 35.5, but that's after it was 38.5. I've been monitoring this all day. Right now, 35.5 on BetMGM at minus 115. So he's running around 83% of the times when Love is back to pass, which is great. He has over a 20% target share, which is awesome. He has nearly a 1 in 4 first read share, which is awesome for a rookie tight end as well. Oh, by the way, that the Lions have allowed the most receiving yards to tight ends. I think Luke Musgrave gets over 40 tonight. That's what I would play it, up to 40. And I'm feeling pretty good about it. So we're gonna do that at minus 115, Coach.
Do you ever not feel good about one of your bets, EC?
Yeah, I do. Well, actually, no, I don't. Not that I do enough research that I would hope at least some of them hit. We've been okay lately. Not bad.
No, you've been great. You've been killing it on the college show. You've been killing it on everything. Prop show, too. There's nothing I can say.
Levels. That's all I have to say, Coach. Levels.
That's true. Hashtag levels. You're damn right about that. Now, let me come to you, and then, Phil, I got to come back to you because tonight I failed to mention at the top of the show, Proppy, I'm coming right to you, big boy, because we found out this afternoon that maybe Alexander's not playing on the offensive side, but we got good news that Watson and Aaron Jones will play for the Packers on the offensive side. So, Proppy, you believe that Watson, who is dynamic, he's athletic, he's a big-time wide receiver, but his number's not that high. What am I missing, if anything?
Yeah, Christian Watson making his season debut tonight. Very excited. Coming off an excellent rookie campaign, 9 touchdowns. He really became a full-time player in Green Bay's offense mid-November. He eclipsed this, I believe, in 8, this number over 37.5 receiving yards. 8 of his 9 final games really served as the engine of Green Bay's passing offense. This guy is huge. He's 6'4", runs a sub 4.35 40, absolute wheels, elite physical traits, all of the metrics, very, very positive for Christian Watson. Led all rookie wide receivers in yards per route run. I think he's going to be the focal point of Green Bay's passing offense tonight. The reason this number is discounted, I think, is because there's probability that he's not going to play a full complement of snaps, but he gets targeted deep down the field, only needs 1 or 2 receptions to easily cash this number, which I gave out on SportsLine earlier. It's now presently over 40. I'd play it up to 42.5 personally. Love Christian Watson tonight. Only really needs to play half the snaps or even half of Jordan Love's dropbacks in order to clear this number. Then I'm going to fade Sam Laporta, kind of a contrarian look here, under 4.5 receptions. Laporta's on pace for 118 receptions. That would absolutely obliterate the most receptions for a rookie tight end in NFL history, which I believe belongs to Keith Jackson with 84 receptions. So Laporta has been very good. I don't think he can sustain this level of production. I also think passing volume might be at a minimum tonight, especially for Detroit. Green Bay's defense is a bit of a run funnel. I just think 5 receptions is a big, big ask, and I think he's eventually going to regress a little bit in Sam Laporta. So we're going to go under 4.5 receptions. But then I'm going to take a look at his teammate, Amon-Ra St. Brown, go over 71.5 receiving yards. Coach Phil mentioned it. No Jair Alexander tonight. That is good news for Amon-Ra St. Brown, who is the number 1 option in this Detroit passing offense. He has been excellent this year, top 10 in virtually every single receiving metric, yards per route run. He's just been very, very good, consecutive 100-yard games. He's struggled in his career against Green Bay. I like his chances tonight, though. I think 70 yards is very reasonable for him and his role in the offense, so we are going over there.
The chat loves St. Brown play. You are contrarian because there's a couple people that want to challenge you to a showdown. We're not going to do it, so don't write it in the chat again. But they want over on Laporta's catches, and the Maestro has the yardage over from, I think it was yesterday's show, I believe. So that's an official play today. But I'm telling you right now, when you call out Proppy on a pick like that, more times than not,
Yeah.
it's not going to work out well for you. Now, Philzy, the reason I'd come back to you,
Sure.
because from a coaching perspective, you heard Alex just talk about it. How much will Christian Watson get on the field tonight? How much will they use Aaron Jones? How important are those two guys, and what do you think the coaches will do?
Yeah, I thought Proppy did a wonderful job of explaining that this may be a pitch count. What does he mean by that? Well, it means like, hey, Matt LaFleur's like, goes to receiver coach, says, hey, you got 25 snaps total tonight. That's all he's going to get. Okay, 25 snaps. And then next week we'll get 35, and then we'll work through 3 quarters and see where we are, in the middle of October. So, just understanding that he's going to get limited amount of touches. But what that does, it forces you to put specific plays in the game plan. You just don't have them out there just to have them out there. So Matt's a real detailed head coach. So I know they're going to have plays specifically for Christian Watson. They're going to be working deep down the field that are going to accentuate all those physical attributes that Proppy just explained. Moving on to Aaron Jones, I love this player because of the versatility. He's a great zone runner, and they have everyone talks about Kyle Shanahan and Mike McDaniels and all those guys. But Matt LaFleur's from that same tree. He's worked with Sean McVay. This guy is a virtuoso. To me, he's another one of the savant type young coaches. So having a weapon like Aaron Jones, who's going to touch the ball, with pass receptions, he's going to align wide, he'll motion. He can do a lot of different things in between the tackles, outside the tackles. So having him back in the lineup is going to give Love so much more options, and he's going to have like that security blanket, having a Pro Bowl player back there in the backfield when they're in shotgun, who's protected with him, who understands what's going on around the league, who understands the importance of this game. So getting those two guys back is critical to Green Bay.
Oh, that was absolutely music to these gorgeous ears. And all of that will lead to more points, which brings me to my right hand. I call him 1B, one of the greatest in the business. By the way, he posted a Ryder Cup play on his Twitter about 2 hours ago. Counselor, I love your play tonight. I actually got it at 21.5. Explain yourself.
Yeah, so I gave this out this morning, and it was at 22.5. It was Green Bay's team total over 22.5. It's now at 21.5 in most places, and I get why this went down. I mean, listen, when we come to these Thursday primetime games, they've really gone to the under more often than not, but I'm not really playing the overall under here. While people don't expect many points from the Green Bay Packers, I think there's something we have to just point out here. Like when we see the inactive list for both of these teams, those inactive lists don't include the players that have already been put on injured reserve. Josh Pascal, Khalil Dorsey, CJ Gardner-Johnson, James Houston, Julian Okwara. They all play on the Detroit defense. So even if you think, hey, Jair Alexander, he's out for Green Bay, that they're going to get exposed and the Green Bay Packers are going to lose, I'm not really worried about that with my bet. What I'm worried about is the Green Bay offense. And there are so many guys out, not just on the offensive line for Detroit, just like with the Green Bay Packers, but on the defensive side of the ball. It's not just Jair Alexander and Emmanuel Mosley. There are so many guys out for Detroit. And I think that leads to Jordan Love passing the ball against these guys, especially if they're getting pushed by the Detroit offense, which it sounds like everybody anticipates, especially with the injuries that we've already talked about. So I like the Packers team total over 22.5. Jordan Love, he's been okay. He's been good with the explosive plays, which I expect here because I think he's going to see some blitzes. His completion percentage, it's not great. It's only 53%. By the way, a little bit of that is on the receivers who are dropping some of his balls. Long story short, I think he'll get pushed tonight, and I think the over is coming in 22.5. 21.5 where you can get it right now.
See ya alone. See ya alone.
That's
maybe
good,
smarter than the entire chat, myself included, the guy says, and EC combined. Sorry, EC. I didn't write it. I'm only the messenger.
Well, I mean, are we surprised by that? No. Of course, C is a genius. Are you kidding? I'm not. I had nothing more to say.
That's a great point though about the guys that are on IR for Detroit. CJ Gardner-Johnson, when I saw them live in training camp this year, he was the most vocal guy out there. He's a huge leader. That's a big loss. That's an excellent point, Sia.
What was the atmosphere like when you were at camp for the Lions?
It was fun. I mean, they flew around. It was a joint practice with the Jags, so it was really competitive. I thought they were going to be good. That was my when I left Detroit and went to Cincinnati the next day. I thought Detroit was going to be a good football team, and Jacksonville. They've surprised me. They've struggled, but I thought that was two good football teams practicing hard.
I love the low-key flex that Phil has all the time. He's like, as I drop it in on the Bengals, and then I just went up to Indianapolis, and then I hung out with the Ravens. It's what everybody does. It's what we do. All right, AB, I've made you wait.
Do the work. Got to do the work.
Thank you. You got to do the work. By the way, Peggy in the chat says, Coach, I'm retired. I don't want to do the work. That's why I'm a SportsLine member. Well, Peggy, thank you
Fair.
for being a SportsLine member. But if you're not, guess what? I'm going to do you a solid right here, right now. I'm going to give you 60% off a quarterly plan. Use a promo code MyNameCoach. Let's go. So many hundreds. We're into the thousands now of people that are using this promo code. Use a QR code or go to sportsline.com/join, and you get all the articles. You get all the simulations. You get everything for 60% off for your first 3 months. All right, AB, I'm coming to you because you have 3 different plays, and I don't know that there's a human being or a robot on planet Earth that is hotter than you. The sun may not be as hot as you. What do we got tonight?
Coach, you know what? I'm just here to help the ball club, right? You know what? That's it. That's it. We're just here to help the ball club. Now, I'll tell you this. We've got a couple plays. Let's start here with the no-fly zone. And we're going to bring up Jared Goff first. Let's take a look here. This is your standard fare Jared Goff approach. Right-handed quarterback. All right, if anybody's new to the no-fly zone, on the left-hand side, you'll see the defensive secondary completion percentage ranks across the NFL. Bottom, you'll see Jared Goff's interception splits. Bottom right, you'll see how Jared Goff fared last week against the Atlanta Falcons. And top right here is just Jared Goff as a whole. And you can see right-handed quarterback, he gets into trouble when he throws across his body. Mid-deep, deep thirds, you name it. Now, they tend to stay away from that because they have such a good run game. But if he is forced to throw, all right, deep mid, deep left, that's where Goff's going to get in trouble. But we're not playing Goff for an interception. We're only playing Jordan Love. And let me show you this. We don't have a large sample size for Jordan Love. So, talk about doing the work. I went through and charted every single pass he's made as a starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. All of them. All right. So I want you to notice this. All right. White dots, incompletions. Blue dots, touchdown passes. Green dots, completions. Red dot, interception. Take a look at that 15-yard line. All right? That Matt LaFleur offense is 15 yards and in. Once it goes past 15 yards, incompletions rack up. Deep left, which is strange for a right-handed quarterback throwing across his body because you notice. Deep middle, they don't even try it. Deep right, they don't even try it. This is a safe offense that Matt LaFleur has built for Jordan Love so far. In fact, his 7 touchdown passes this season, 5 of them were 10 yards and in. So I say all that to say this. The Lions tonight are going to look to score quickly, get a lead, and force Jordan Love out of his comfort zone and make him throw passes over 15 yards. Do not let him sit there and be comfortable and throw little 5-yard hitch routes. Got to do it. So anything beyond 15 yards is the no-fly zone. Jordan Love is throwing a pick. Now, for the rest of my picks here, let me go ahead and bring them up so that you can see. Jordan Love, 1+ interception, -140. Total punts, over 8.5. You know what? These two teams are bottom 5 in terms of field goals kicked this season. They don't do it. They don't do it at all. So, speaking of that, we're going to take the punts. We're also going to play Lions first half team total over 10.5. Lions team touchdowns over 2.5. The key to victory for the Detroit Lions is scoring points and forcing Green Bay to play an uncomfortable game. So that's why we're playing these 4.
Big G says, I don't want to do that work. Thank you, AB.
Yeah.
That was incredible.
Put
Phil,
put the Jordan Love graphic back up real quick. That one was impressive. And I think just looking at this, it makes sense not having Christian Watson, why you wouldn't go down the field as much. But this really speaks to Luke Musgrave when I'm looking at it and thinking about the effectiveness and where he'll be utilized and understanding, like, philosophically the way LaFleur feels about the tight ends and the way the guy's playing. So, I mean, when you're talking about your even your second tight end and then some of the restricted splits with the receivers and the outbreaking routes. So it speaks to volume of touches and attempts rather than long yardage plays. And, and Watson may be the missing link. So that, this is very interesting. Very good work.
And Phil, I want to point out that the deepest green dot on the left side, so it's about the 30-yard mark, that was against the Bears. That was Musgrave. It was a broken play, and Musgrave got wide open. Jordan Love underthrew him. Otherwise, it would have been an easy touchdown. But that was his longest completion, was on a broken play. to
Interesting.
Musgrave, who had gone down the field at that point.
Well, what's a wonderful graphic there, AB. Sick.
I think that graphic just caused me to have an official play on the show. I looked it up as you were talking about it. Yes, Sia, I looked it up. I'm going to play one play tonight. I'm going to play Jordan Love under longest completion of 36.5 yards. That's the number. If what you just told me is true, this should be a layup, unless there's a broken play like what EC just said. Unless there's a broken play. That's my one play tonight, live and in living color. Now, we've got other guys that we need to talk about because we have about 7 minutes to the top of the hour. The show just goes so fast. We can't hardly get everything in. And let me come to you, probably. We've got a ton of guys to talk about on both sides tonight. We're talking about the guy who caught the winning touchdown on Sunday. We haven't even mentioned him yet. We haven't got to the gym yet either. But Doubs is at 41.5. His number for receptions is 3.5. What do you make of Doubs tonight?
Very bullish on Doubs long-term. Been very impressed with his play. I think he's really stepped up nicely. He's been a really good player, especially when they've gotten into the red zone. That's certainly reflected with his touchdown totals as well. My issue with Green Bay's passing offense is there's just a lot of mouths to feed here. We've got a tight end. We've got who catches a lot of passes. We've got Romeo Doubs. We have Christian Watson. Aaron Jones is a good receiver out of the backfield as well. Jaden Reed. Just not sure how these targets are going to get distributed to all these various players. So I like Romeo Doubs. Just don't feel comfortable enough with his target floor to confidently play his over.
All right. Now let's talk about Jordan Love for a second and their props. And see, let me come to you because Goff is 251.5. And on the other side, Jordan Love is at 234.5, understanding this is a Thursday night game.
Yeah, this one is tough for me because what I'm worried about, and I do think Jordan Love's going to be relatively successful, more successful than people think tonight. What I'm worried about is the Lions being able to slow the game down with David Montgomery. If he's super healthy and they just plod along, I see potentially, some 5, 6, 7, 8 minute drives. That's what I'm worried about there. I'm not really interested in his yardage prop, but I am, especially if you think Detroit is going to be ahead in this game, which some people do, not necessarily me. I kind of like his completions prop. So if I'm going to target anything with Jordan Love, his completions are at 19.5, which, just so everybody knows, it's pretty low. It's kind of a knock to Jordan Love that it's here because his passing attempts is 33.5. So clearly they're not really impressed with his completion percentage. But again, with what I'm seeing with the Detroit defense, it's a good defense. It's formidable, but it also has a lot of injuries, especially if you think it's a negative game script. I think Jordan Love over 19.5 completions is the play as opposed to the yards.
Can we just say for a second, I am blown away. I am blown away how good this show looks. That right there, just the small details. AB, what are you doing? What are you doing? I mean, this show's ready to go on Paramount Plus today. That was amazing with that Jordan Love graphic. BetMGM, you're welcome. You're welcome. Now, EC, I got to come to you because you're my resident Packers fan. You're going to know more than anybody else. Maybe. Now, Aaron Jones, because his combo number tonight is 65.5. His receiving numbers is 50.5. And his rushing number, let me get down to it, is 46.5 even money, remembering that they've got a big old boy in the backfield with him named A.J. Dillon. Your thoughts on Aaron Jones?
I'll tell you what, Coach. A.J. Dillon has been so unimpressive to me thus far this season. I don't know what it is, but he just looks like a plotter. He looks like Jerome Bettis in his final days, and not even a good version of Jerome Bettis in his final days. So they need Aaron Jones back. Let me tell you that. But Jones last year against Detroit did not do so well. 9 carries, 25 yards in the first game, and 12 carries, 48 yards in the second game. I'm staying away from his rushing total, especially you don't know how those rushing distribution numbers will go. As far as receptions, that's where I would target it, especially based on AB's graphic. So you know that he's going to try to throw, that Jordan Love's going to try to throw it within that 15-yard mark. I think Aaron Jones could be the beneficiary of that. We know he's an excellent receiver. I could see Aaron Jones getting 3 or 4 or 5 catches, something like that. So I would look at his over in receiving yards, and I would probably stay away from his rushing yards.
Okay, very good. Well, AB, let me come to you because we saw the Jordan Love stuff as C was talking about it, but on the Jared Goff side, I think sometimes because we saw it the first Thursday night against the Chiefs, when Jared Goff gets going, he can get going. Is there a number that you're seeing tonight with him that maybe we can lean into?
Yeah, he can get going. I'll tell you what, I'll leave us all here on the screen so we can take a look and we kind of discuss it here. But you take a look at Jared Goff. All right, look, pass attempts 34.5, completions 23.5, pass yards 253.5. So I think early, again, that you're going to see Detroit come after Green Bay aggressively. All right. I like the attempts in this game. I understand that it is favored to the under there at minus 130, but I think that you're going to see Jared Goff really attack this team. Now, here's also the difference and why I like it. If you look at the time of possession between both of these teams, Detroit, one of the better teams in the NFL. They can control the game. They're very balanced offensively. They can run the ball. They can throw the ball. They can dictate the pace of play. Green Bay, even though they've scored a lot of points, they do not have a high, time of possession. I think it's only maybe 22 minutes roughly on average per game, right? So you take a look here. I think that the Lions are going to have extra possessions and they're going to have extra opportunities. So I don't hate anything, but I kind of dig the attempts because I do think that Jared Goff and this Detroit Lions offense is going to find success tonight.
Phil, which quarterback in your mind has a bigger night tonight?
Goff. I feel like Goff's playing good football at this point. I love the creativity. I love the way Laporta's playing. I'm Gibbs. You got Montgomery. I just think, with the way it's rolling right now, what they did last year, they're building, and Love's young. I mean, he's trying to find his footing. They're 2-1. He had an awesome fourth quarter against the Saints, but there's still some things that I'm sure that they'd like to clean up. So if you had I think it's going to be an interesting game tonight, but I'm going to choose Goff.
All right. By the way, that 18-point straight performance on Sunday tied for the largest comeback in franchise history entering the fourth quarter. That can do a lot for your confidence, not only for your quarterback, but also for your weapons. So that's a lot going on tonight. This is a fascinating game.
Coach, can I say one thing real quick?
Of course.
Just to cap all of that. The kryptonite, all right, against the Lions are fumbles. They don't really throw a lot of interceptions, but they will put the ball on the ground. So watch Green Bay's defense. If they can get a hat on the ball and get it out there and especially create short fields, that completely changes all of this. So keep an eye on that one, especially early.
Things do happen at Lambeau. They happen at Lambeau. The ball comes out.
I wonder if we should play that turnover prop again, that not only did we cash it, but you had to teach poor old Buckets a lesson on that one.
2.5. It's set at 2.5, man. It's a nice one.
Real quick, and we're going to get to the gym because it is straight up 8 o'clock in the East, 5 o'clock in the West. But Doug has a quick question for Phil. How much is Russ going to be a factor for Watson and Jones? Sorry if you already answered it, but we haven't really hit on Russ. Give me 15, 20 seconds.
Yeah, so it's a factor. And I think you're just trying to, first of all, you're trying to stay healthy. So you want to get a series in and not re-aggravate something and be back in the training room for 3 weeks. So you're timid, and then this isn't the game for that. So, they got to let it go, let it rip. So it's really between the ears is the first thing. And then like physically, once you're moving and around and you realize you catch one, you're kind of going, but psychologically, that's what I think of as Russ, is because you just done so much work from a rehabilitation standpoint that like thinking about popping a calf again or a hamstring or something like that is just, it makes you play a little tentative early.
Yeah, that's the one injury that is just, I've had hamstring. They're the worst because you never know when it's going to pop. It just could pop at any point. Now, speaking of popping, C has been, oh my God.
Oh, hi, everybody.
Oh my God.
Could we hurry this up? I've got plans with Jamie Foxx. Club Cache. Just me and him.
Oh, maybe the only one this burns more than me is Proppy sitting there like, arr. All right. There's a lot of new people to our show tonight. First of all, welcome. Hit that like button for me. Don't be lazy. But we have a little thing because this is a fun business. Other brands may not have fun. We have a ton of fun. And we like to pick the first touchdown of the game. And my man Sia, the first week, we took it away from him because we didn't say the number was correct. That cashed. Second week, he got into the club. Week 3, a replay cost him another one, which I still don't know if the foot hit the sidelines, but that's how good you've been. That's how good you've been. So as much as it drives me insane that you keep hitting these, I'm nothing if not tipping my cap to you. You get to go first.
Well, thank you. And by the way, the Tutu Atwell thing, like I understand it looked like it was out of bounds, but we do need the standard for replay is conclusive evidence. So I'm just going to put that out there for everybody. Was it conclusive is the question. Well, what's going to be conclusive tonight is that Luke Musgrave is going to score the first touchdown at plus 1,800. Really interesting answer that Proppy gave to the receiving props, because when you look at all the receivers you can choose from in terms of the totals, there's so many receivers on both sides of the ball. It is just a laundry list, which to me, and I thought Proppy answered it so perfectly, like it caters to a lot of unders because not all of these guys can be fed. I think the tight end is kind of an exception to that on both sides of the ball. And I think Luke Musgrave is going to operate this entire season as a safety blanket for young quarterback Jordan Love. And when they get near the red zone, give me a big, tall, athletic target. Use Luke, use the force. Luke Musgrave plus 1,800. He's your first touchdown scorer.
You are my father. Oh, you're my son. All right. Well, John says, I only tail Sia. I'm just saying. And then somebody else says, watch EC get in tonight. Sox Nation 35. I will quit hosting on Thursdays if EC gets in the club tonight. So with that being said, EC, let's go.
All right, we're going with Christian Watson. You know what? I read Proppy's write-up about Christian Watson on the site last night. I'm like, you know what? I'm all in. I'm sorry, Proppy. I had to take it from you at plus 1,500. Listen, I'll tell you why. In his last 8 games of the 2022 season, the last time we saw Christian Watson, he had a 31.4% red zone target share. That's 7 end zone targets in that time period. It's almost 1 a game. Give me the one on the first drive. Now, listen, I hope Sia hits with Musgrave because I have other bets and parlays, you can imagine, Coach, with Musgrave in them. But for the first touchdown, I'm good with Christian Watson, too, just so I can join C in the club. We could be popping bottles next week.
For some reason, you saying popping bottles next week is probably something you've never said day in your life. Never. But I will say this. You're not the only one that takes Proppy's picks. Whenever I'm on HQ and I need a prop, what do, Proppy?
You come to me, Coach.
You're damn right I do. Every single time. Now, Proppy, you're another one that's had multiple trips to the club in years past. However, you're a competitor like nobody I've ever seen. And it doesn't matter what you've done in years past. You want to make it happen right here, right now, tonight. You're up.
Absolutely. And I do want to mention regarding Christian Watson, 2 of those touchdowns last year were rushing touchdowns. The Packers really like to utilize him on end arounds. He has incredible speed and, his ability to score a myriad of ways. So love that pick from EC. But I'm going Josh Reynolds, frankly, because I was last to respond to the email, and he was the best option who was available. He's kind of served as the number 2 option in this passing game for Detroit. Got blanked last week, got off to a really good start in weeks 1 and 2. But Goff is looking at him. He already has 2 receiving touchdowns on the year. Not my first choice, but probably not my last choice.
You know what? This is a true story. I was actually representing the early edge earlier today. I do it every single Thursday against Will Brenson, a pick 6. I'm crushing him, by the way. And as I'm doing it, I see my phone just ding, 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 and I can't get off the air. And it was all you clowns putting in your gym picks. And I felt like Proppy going, wait a second, I'm on the air. It's not going to matter. It's not going to matter because does anybody know? You guys love to raise your hand and just tick me off. Can anybody tell me one of the touchdowns that was scored Sunday during that big comeback by the Packers? Anyone? I'll answer it for you. Jordan Love running the rock. So tonight, you guys all missed it. You missed the one guy. When everybody's on the outside, all these mouths to feed, Jordan Love is going to feed himself. Plus 1,450. You're welcome. Now, my man Scott says in the chat, let me find it real quick. We need a short video collage of AB laughing on all the different episodes. His laugh brings a smile to my face every time and could make even miserable Matt crack a smile. Let's not go too far. But AB's our guy. He's our 5-tool player. Who do you like tonight, big boy?
Well, I'll tell you what. First off, Coach, Scott's the man. And this show just makes me laugh between you guys, between the chat. I've said it forever that we have the best chat in the game. The Early Edge crew brings it and crushes every other show. They're smarter than I am. They're hilarious in there. So I laugh constantly throughout. Now, I will give you something serious here, and we all need to understand this because when you perform in the red, my man, you're going to get fed. And that's Sam Laporta right there. Got him a tutty last week. And you know what? With a team that is looking to start hot and secure touchdowns, not field goals, and put Green Bay out of this before it even begins, you go to the big fella there. I think Laporta is getting the job done tonight.
All right. Well, we've come down to this. And as I said, there was a man who made a spectacular catch on Sunday to tie the game. And then, of course, the extra point won the game. And I'm staring at that name right here, right now. Coach Phil, you're up.
Yeah. I love Romeo Doubs this week. He's playing high. He's ascending right now. So you got to think back to the way the Packers have developed these receivers from within. They've had Greg Jennings and Jordy Nelson, and they've done a great job with Cobb. I think this is one of the next young, great Packer receivers. So in my opinion, just with the tools that he has, the route running, the hands, like this is an arrow up ascending young player for me. So I took Romeo Doubs this week.
All right. Now, he must be conflicted because you said you loved the Lions, or at least it felt like you loved the Lions, and then you're picking a Packer to score the first touchdown. Very interesting, Phil. Very interesting. I'm just saying. Now, we only have a few minutes before this game starts, so you guys know the drill. For those of you who didn't show up at the start of the game, it's okay. It's okay. We're going to go through our kind of rapid-fire best bets. One line from each guy for each pick. Proppy, let's start with you, big boy.
Yeah, starting with Amon-Ra St. Brown, over 71.5 receiving yards, the focal point of Detroit's passing offense, consecutive 100-yard receiving games. I think he's going to make it potentially a third. Then we're going to fade Sam Laporta, under 4.5 receptions, going completely contrarian here, but I believe this number is inflated. I believe he is a regression candidate as well. And then Christian Watson, over 37.5 receiving yards. Play this one up to 42.5. This guy was electric, dynamic last year, possesses all the tools of an alpha wide receiver one. I think he makes a big debut tonight. Only needs a couple of targets to go over this number.
I love all three of these. I already played them myself. Now, Big G says EC clubbing in Scottsdale after tonight. So you and the college kids, huh, EC? You and the college kids. All right, what do you like tonight?
Well, I'll tell you what, Coach, I believe BetMGM has a same-game parlay insurance, so you might want to put these two picks together and cash at the window. If not, you get your money back. Jordan Love, over 18.5 rushing yards. The offensive line, not sure I trust him. Aiden Hutchinson coming for him. Jordan Love scrambles out of the pocket, going to beat his 39 rushing yards from last week, we hope. And then Luke Musgrave, over 35.5 receiving yards. If you don't know why I'm picking this, go look at AB's no-fly zone graphic from earlier in the show, and you'll see why.
I absolutely love that. Way to tease ahead. See ya. If the Packers cash your play, we win on the Packers bet. If they cash your play, tell me why you think they go over 22.5.
Yeah, and for the record, this is 21.5 in most places. The market working against me thanks to Thursday night primetime unders. But listen, this is the first time Jordan Love has his full complement of weapons. We've got Aaron Jones back. We've got Christian Watson back. And we have a really banged up Detroit Lions defense. I like the Packers as a lean to cover, but I don't need to worry about that with this bet. I just need them to score. Detroit's going to press them to score. But more importantly, Detroit is really banged up on the defensive side. Give me the Packers team total over 21.5 or 22.5.
Boom. And the Maestro's on Sam Laporta, over 41.5 receiving yards. It's gone up in some markets, 43, 44. I'm sure he would still like it right there. AB, bring us home.
Yes, sir. Lions first half, team total over 10.5. Also going to play Lions team touchdowns over 2.5. Jordan Love of the Packers is throwing a pick, and we are playing Lions Packers total punts in the game over 8.5.
You guys are amazing. Absolutely amazing. Do not forget that if you haven't watched our Ryder Cup show, if you're watching us live right now, you still have time. See ya. How are you approaching the Ryder Cup, by the way? It starts at 1:35 a.m. Eastern time. What are you doing?
I'll be perfectly honest with you. I'll be waking up a little bit early to catch the back half of the second round of action tomorrow, but I'm certainly not waking up at 1 a.m. My apologies to Golf Kingdom.
It's 10:30 out here. I don't even know what I'm going to do. If I don't make any sense tomorrow, you'll know I was up all night because I've done it before. All right. You guys know we end every one of our specialty shows asking my guys, what's the number one most important thing they're looking forward to tonight? Use it for tonight or into the future. This information matters. EC, start us off.
The winner of this game will win the NFC North. They will have a distinct advantage over the Bears and Vikings, who are undefeated. There'll be 3 games up, at least 3 games up after this weekend. So let's go, Pack, go.
Proppy.
I think we'll learn about both quarterbacks in this matchup. Very interesting, intriguing to me. We've got one quarterback who's relatively inexperienced, but has looked very poised. He's looked very good. He gets both of his top two weapons back on offense, which I think will be a big boost. And then as far as Jared Goff is concerned, he hasn't performed well at Lambeau on the road, in some weather. So yeah, I'm just interested to see if Goff can kind of dispel the narrative and perform well in prime time on the road in Lambeau Field.
Counselor.
As usual, I agree with Proppy. I mean, the reality is nobody had big expectations for the Packers this year. It was going to be Detroit or maybe Minnesota. Jordan Love, of all people, is making the Packers super, super relevant. And EC is right. Tonight's the night. Like, the Packers can get really a hold of the NFC North. And I don't think anybody expected that this early.
No doubt. AB.
Yeah. We all look at the offenses for both teams here, but this game is actually going to be won by which defense steps up and controls the game. That's really where it's going to be. And also throughout, we saw the no-fly zone. Watch and pay attention to Jordan Love throwing 15 yards and in, 15 yards and out. That is what you'll be watching throughout the night.
Love it. Coach Phil, bring us home.
I'm just excited about this premier offensive coaching battle. We're going to have Ben Johnson, who's one of the best play callers, and then Matt LaFleur, who, again, is one of the young, awesome head coaches who calls plays for the Packers. So anytime you get a chance to see how these masterminds and these guys who they're savants, they're just a little bit smarter than the rest of us coaches, they deploy their chess pieces in these manners, and you get to watch the way that they're going to do the sophisticated motions and the schemes within this. So I'm really just excited to watch and see the creativity from both sides of the ball. I mean, from both offensives, tonight.
I encourage you, you see the Twitter handles or the X handles at the bottom of the screen. I encourage you to follow all of my guys, all of my crews. They're always dropping knowledge there. They're always making picks. They're always making you smarter. Why? Because we believe as a unit, this is a 24/7 business. We never stop. And why? Because of you at home, building the show into what it is, and we could not thank you enough. Damn it, I'm ready for a big game on Thursday night. So, with all that being said, there's only one thing left to do, and I believe you all know what that is. By the way, Taylor Swift, she will be at the game Sunday night. For all of you haters, you're going to get it one more time. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these Thursday night tickets straight to the pay window. For my entire crew, damn it, do I love them all. EC, Coach Phil, AB, the counselor, my man Proppy, and don't forget about Snake, our executive producer, always behind the scenes, helping out. I am simply the coach. Try to keep this train on said track. We grind for you so we can win with you. It's what we're all about, especially at prime time early edge. Good luck.